Texas is on the front lines of a fierce battle over restrictive voting laws, and the confrontation is escalating. Dozens of Democrats in the state legislature bolted to Washington, D.C. yesterday to protest controversial Republican efforts to overhaul election laws. They say they'll stay there for weeks. Now, Governor Greg Abbott is threatening arrests. Ed O'Keefe was at the D.C. airport when the Democratic lawmakers arrived.
We shall overcome.
More than 50 Texas House Democrats arrived in the Washington area last night aboard a pair of private jets after fleeing a special session of the Texas legislature called to address about a dozen issues, including changes to state elections laws.
There is nothing special about this special session. This is a suppression session. We're not going to put up with that. Democracy is on the line. The eyes of the nation are on Texas.
Texas Democrats killed a similar Republican-backed elections bill in May by walking out in the closing minutes of the regular session. So Governor Greg Abbott and Republicans are trying again. Their proposals would eliminate drive-through and 24-hour early voting used for the first time last year in the predominantly Democratic Houston area. They would also expand early voting hours to some medium-sized counties, add ID requirements for voting by mail, and give more powers to partisan poll watchers. Last night, Abbott called the Democrats quitters.
It's like during a football game or a baseball game, taking their equipment when they're way behind and just leaving the field. That is not the way that Texans do things.
And he said they will face legal consequences.
Once they step back into the state of Texas, they will be arrested and brought to the Texas Capitol, and we will be conducting business.
To constituents who elected you to do a job and to be in Austin and debate these issues, and they see you leaving the state today and may think they're running away from their responsibilities.
Nothing could be further from the truth. We're not going to sit in Austin, in the House chamber, and watch the Republican majority steamroll the voting rights of our constituents. We're fighting back. We're leaving, so they can't do that.
How long will you be here in Washington?
Well, our intention is to be out of Texas until this session is over.
And if he calls another one right away?
That's our message to Congress. We need them to act now because they will keep calling these sessions to pass voter suppression legislation.
Voting rights legislation failed to advance to the U.S. Senate last month amid Republican opposition, but bipartisan talks on the subject continue in hopes of finding a solution. Today, President Biden heads to Philadelphia to discuss voting rights. Aides say he'll make the moral case for why restricting the right to vote is a form of suppression. But amid the talks on infrastructure and other big issues they've got to handle, Gayle, the idea that Congress would pass voting rights legislation before the start of their August recess, that'd be a tall order.
All right, Ed, thank you very much. We'll be paying attention.